everyone, thanks for taking the time to join us today. Welcome to our webinar on SYSTRONICS products and services for Sage 300 ERP. The webinar will be presented to you by our product manager, Lucina Sarkisian. My name is Naira and I'm the marketing coordinator at SYSTRONICS. We hope you will enjoy the presentation and will find the webinar useful. Lucina?
Thank you, Naira. Hi everyone, I would also like to welcome you to our webinar, and I would like to start our presentation with Intercompany Utilities. Intercompany Utilities is a modular product and each module can be purchased separately. Let me describe you what you can do using this application. It allows you to create GL accounts, AR customers, AP vendors, and IC items in different companies automatically. Let me show you an example on AP vendors. So I'll go to vendor synchronization, and now I'm in RG Limited Company. I'll create vendor 1405 in RG Limited. Now, once I create this vendor and add it to this company, I can say synchronize. When I'm saying synchronize, I can choose in which other companies I would like this vendor to be created. Well, I want this vendor to be created in all other companies. Now, when I click the synchronize button, the vendor is created in RG Incorporated and in RG Company. Let's go to RG Incorporated and see this. I'm now logging to RG Incorporated. And in accounts payable, you can see that vendor 1405 is created here as well. So the same way you can create GL accounts, AR customers, and IC items in multiple companies in one go. RG Utilities can also help you with automating trade between the companies that are where one of your companies is selling and the other one is buying. So when purchase order is created in the company who is buying, a sale order is created in the selling company. Let's see how this works. Now I'm in RG Limited and I'm going to purchase lamps from RG Incorporated. Both are my AKBA companies, my companies. So I'm creating the purchase order. Creation of the purchase order is standard, no variation from the standard AKBA procedure. The only thing is when I'm selecting a vendor, I'm selecting my intercompany vendor, the vendor which represents RG Incorporated. Okay, so I'm buying lamp for location 1, 5 lamps with $2 each, $20 each, and posting this purchase order. When I post the purchase order, I will get a message that an order, sale order 70 has been created in the company which is going to sell in RG Inc. Let's see that sale order in RG Incorporated. Now I'm in RG Incorporated, and in my order entry transactions, I will see the sale order created for lamp, 5 quantity, and 20 as the price. Now I'm shipping the goods. RG Incorporated is going to ship the goods to RG Limited. When RG Incorporated creates the shipment entry based on this sale order, purchase order receipt is automatically created in RG Limited. You can see here the message notifying me about that. And let's go to RG Limited and see the receipt. You can see here receipt 83, which is already created based on the sale or based on the shipment transaction in another company. Receipt is for quantity 5 and price 20. Now, RG Incorporated is going to create an invoice in his company for RG Limited. Well, I have set up my system in a way, Intercompany Utilities, in a way that this invoice will not automatically go to RG Incorporated. So let me just create the invoice. I'll just create the invoice similarly as usually, and I post it. Now you can see I'm getting a notification that admin doesn't have enough rights to post a PO invoice in RG Limited. But this invoice is of course successfully posted in RG Incorporated. In RG Limited, a user who has enough rights will go to Approval Console and will find this transaction there. So my invoice is here. I can view it. I can just open it. Of course, I have to have sufficient rights in RG Incorporated to view this invoice. I can view it. If this is fine, this is correct, I'm happy with it, I'll just process it. And it will create this invoice now in my company as well. So I don't need to rekey everything again. So this much about trade automation. Intercompany Utilities also allows you doing intercompany inventory transfer without buying and selling transactions. This creates IC adjustments in the transfer from and transfer to companies. And also it allows GL distributions. GL distributions is very similar to GL allocations, which we are all familiar with in general ledger. The difference is that this is multi-company, so you can allocate amounts between various companies. And also it not only allows to allocate GL by fixed percentages as in GL allocations, but it allows you to allocate the GL amount based on number of transactions, number of payroll employees, balances of destination accounts as well. Okay. Intercompany Utilities also allows you to generate consolidated reports. Let me just log into the company where I can print the consolidated reports. So here, there are 4 consolidated reports available: aged receivables, aged payables, vendor transaction by company, and customer transaction by company. Let me show you an example of aged receivable and vendor and customer transaction by company. This report is actually very similar to its counterpart in ACBAC, so it's very similar to aged receivable report, standard aged receivable report. The difference is that it gets data from multiple companies. In my case, I have 2 companies, so it will get data from both companies. Let's print the report. Okay. You can see here that it has printed the report for RG Incorporated. Then it has continued the report for RG Limited. This is one option, but there is another option where you can group by customer number. And on the same report, on the same place, you can see that, okay, customer 1100 in RG Incorporated owes me $1,700, and the same customer in RG Limited owes me $7,269. And in total, in all my companies, Bargain Mart owes me $8,973. Now let's see what the other report can do. Customer transaction report is similar to customer transactions in accounts receivable module, just that prints transactions from both companies, all companies available actually. in different columns. So it prints the transaction and it shows this transaction is from which company. Let me just show you an example of that. Okay, you can see here that I have, again, customer 1100, and you can see that there are all these documents in all the companies, but TRIMV01 is for $2,500 and it's for the sample limited company, whereas invoice 58 is for $772, but it's for sample incorporated company. And also, at the end, I can see how much the customer owes me in total. The transactions are in total in sample company incorporated, and how much is it in sample company limited, and how much is the total of these customer transactions in both companies, or well, in my case it's only 2, but you can have more companies here as well. Okay, I will not show you aged payables and vendor transactions because it's very similar to aged receivables and customer transactions. Okay. Well, so much about intercompany utilities. Let's move to the next application we would like to present you today, document attachment applets. Document attachment applets allows you to add attachment to various ACPAC transactions. It can be just a standard transaction or even a master data. Let me show you. I would like to show you only 2 applets today, but the entire list you can find on our site. Let me show you IC items and AP transactions, AP invoice entry. Okay, let's log into document attachment applets company. Okay, let me go to IC items. I have here, I have added a new icon on my desktop, IC items and price list desktop, called items with attachment. This is actually a shortcut to IC item applet. When I open this transaction, it will show me something which is very, very similar to IC item screen. And it is the IC item screen with only one extension to it. It has this attachment button added to it. If I click the attachment button, I can add attachment. In my case, I already have one attachment added, and I can view it. So I want to see how does this fluorescent desk lamp look like. I'll open it, and I'll see the picture of fluorescent desk lamp. If there is another item for which I don't have anything attached yet, I'll just go to attachments, browse to find what I want to attach, and save this attachment. Now this document, this attachment, is saved with my item. So very simple, right? 3 steps. Then similarly, I want also to show you one example of a transaction. I have selected AP invoice entry transaction. Again, I have added this AP invoice entry with attachment to the desktop. Here, I have received a soft copy from my vendor for the invoice, and when I entered this AP invoice transaction, I want it to be linked something. I want to have the backing update there. So I'll go to the header, and I already have added this, so I can view it. Is there really any document against which I have entered? And yes, there is the invoice, the soft copy of the invoice, which I have received from my vendor. And there is one more thing. This one I have added as an attachment, but document attachment applets allows you to also add hyperlink. For example, I have added also something with a hyperlink here. If I just click on the hyperlink, it will open the document as well. The difference is that when you are attaching something, it is saving that information in ACPAC database. But when it is with hyperlink, the hyperlink is, for example, the documents are saved on your server somewhere on the shared directory, but they're not saved in the ACPAC database. Only the hyperlink is saved in ACPAC database. Of course, hyperlink can also be a website, for example, if you want to access certain website from inside any record. And I would like to show you also the list of the applets. If you go to SYSTRONICS, to our site, under the products, document attachment applets, you can see here the list of all applets currently shipping by SYSTRONICS, and you can decide which applets you want and buy them. I want also to show you that we have slideshows available for applets which are shipping. These are kind of like self-running demos for each applet. So let me just show you, for example, one for payroll employee. It just shows you how you can open the attachment. Okay. This much about applets. I would like now to move to the next product, which is ToolPac. ToolPac is a diagnostic tool which allows you to identify discrepancies between GL and subledgers. Currently, you can reconcile between accounts receivable control account and GL, a PIC control account, as well as payable clearing account and shipment clearing account. There is a tool set available for each of these modules. ToolPac is an external application, and it is launched from Start Programs, SYSTRONICS ToolPac. Of course, you can add a shortcut of this to your desktop and launch it directly from your desktop. Okay, you can see all the tool sets available. I will today show you only pure reconciliation tool set, and we'll discuss the tools available in these tool sets. Other tool sets are very similar to this, but they have various sets of tools. First, I'll give you a little bit of theory, okay? Pure receipt status tool. This is inquiry tool with a corresponding report which allows you to easily identify what are the receipts for which you haven't received any invoices yet, or they are invoiced partially. This and return status tools are unique in pure tool sets as they do not work across modules. They are comparing pure receipts with pure invoices, or in case of pure return status, it's comparing pure returns with pure credit notes. The other tools are working between GL and purchase order module and accounts payable module. So payables clearing account net changes. This one is a tool which allows us to easily identify whether we have any period where there is a mismatch between general ledger and purchase order modules. Payables clearing account reconciliation. Now, if we have a mismatch in any period, this tool allows us to identify transactions that are causing this mismatch. It should be noted that ToolPac is not fixing the mismatch automatically. It identifies, but the user should go and fix the mismatch, either create a transaction in GL or delete something, etc. The last tool available in this tool set is PO and AP invoice reconciliation. This one allows us to quickly identify whether there is a mismatch between PO invoices and AP invoices. For example, a PO invoice has been posted in purchase order, but it has been deleted in accounts payable module. Okay, now let's go and see how these tools actually work. So on the receipt status tool, I can choose to view only the receipts which are incomplete. And in my company, I have only two incomplete receipts. If this receipt is partially completed, I can see what is the invoice for that. And for the receipt which is not invoiced yet, this lower grid will be empty. This also can be printed on the report. And also, double-clicking on any of the grids will drill down to ACPAC and open the transaction from inside ACPAC. Let's see the next tool. PO return status. As I already mentioned, this one will allow you to easily identify the returns for which you don't have any credit notes entered yet. So you have the return here. I have only one return, and this return is incomplete because I don't have any matching credit note entered for this return. Payables clearing account changes. Now this one I will check, is everything in my payables clearing account in GL or not. Let's run this. System identifies that, okay, the black lines are the lines where I don't have any issues, and I have two red lines. These are the lines where I have a mismatch. So why is this mismatch there? I can either double click on the red line, or I can also come to payables clearing account reconciliation screen and choose it from there. Let me just double click on it, okay? So I'll double click on it and I'll run this reconciliation tool. Now I can see that I have selected to show only not reconciled ones, but I could have seen all transactions, even the ones which are reconciled, or the reconciled with differences one as well. Now I see that there are two transactions which are from accounts payable and a purchase order, which don't have a match in GL. And I have a large number of GL transactions which are not coming from correct module. In this case, they are coming from inventory control receipts, and these were not supposed to go to my payables clearing account. Well, I have something here for $50, and I have one GL transaction for $55. I want to match them manually. I'm continuing now the reconciliation from this point onwards manually. I can just select these transactions and say reconcile marked transactions. System reconciles them, and it says now pure receipt 84 is matching this transaction. GL badge 114 entry number 5. But if you pay attention, you can notice that this line is highlighted in blue. This is because actually I have matched something with $50 with something which is $55. So even though I'm saying it's the same transaction, the application notifies me that something you're saying wrong. It cannot be the same transaction because this is 50 and that is 55. And even if I go to that screen, I can say that the balance of this group is $5, whereas it should have been 0. I just want to note that this reconciliation, this manual reconciliation, is many-to-many. So you can choose one pure transaction and map it with multiple GL transactions, or multiple pure transactions with one GL transactions, and even multiple POs with multiple GL transactions. Okay, this much about this tool set. And the last tool available in this tool set is PO and AP invoice reconciliation. Now this one shows me if everything from PO has been successfully posted to in accounts payable. So I can see that there are two transactions in accounts payable with an issue, and there is one transaction in purchase order with an issue, and there is one transaction in accounts payable with an issue. These three transactions could not be reconciled. As you can see, actually, invoice 02 is available in both places, but they are not matched because the amount has been changed. So most likely, when this invoice went to accounts payable, somebody just opened the entry, manually changed the amount, and posted. Now that's why I'm having issue with my clearing account. Okay, this much about ToolPac. Once more, I would like to mention that these 5 tools which are currently available, tool sets which are currently available, are shipping separately, and you can subscribe only to the tool set which you require. So we are done with ToolPac. Let's move to the next module, which is CashWorks. CashWorks allows you to manage your post-dated check. I will also be calling them PDCs during the webinar. Let's see in a live example how CashWorks can help you with PDCs. So imagine I have received a post-dated check from my customer 1,200. Now it's November and this check is for 31st of December. But I don't want just to put the check on my desk, and I want to be able to track it in ACPAC. How? Let me show you this on an example. So what I will do, I will go and I will enter this transaction in CashWorks, customer receipts, as a normal transaction, as a normal check. So I'll select my customer. This is from 1,200. I'll enter how much the customer gave me. The customer gave me $40 in USD. And I will locate to the invoice which the customer is paying. Customer is paying invoice 02. So I'll just allocate this to the invoice the customer is paying. But the only difference here is that when I'm entering the transaction, I have something extra. I have a check date. I'll put that my check date is 31st of December. By this, I'm giving an application an instruction that this is a post-dated check. So when I post this transaction, it will not go to my bank, it will not even update my customer account, but it will remain in CashWorks for tracking purposes. Okay, now I'll post this transaction. You see, it will remain in CashWorks for tracking purposes, but CashWorks allows you to print various reports with this information. So we have 3 reports customized for customers and 2 for vendors, which allow you to print the report with or without PDCs. Let me show you an example of customer transactions report. So here, if I print this report without unrealized transaction, it will be the replica of standard ACPAC accounts receivable customer transaction reports. So it just prints me what the customer owes me. The customer owes me $3,652. Then I can also ask the system, what does the customer owe me including all PDCs? Let's see. So this customer owes me $3,652. And it also gave me a PDC for $40. So actually, the customer owes me $3,622. I can do something even furthermore. On this report, I can merge, and I can say, for example, show me the invoices which are paid by these transactions. And I can see that invoice number 2, there is one post-dated check for invoice number 2. And okay. Now let's assume that it's 31st of December, and now it's time to, everything has matured, and now it's time to realize this transaction. So I'll log in to ACPAC as 31st of December. Of course, I forgot by this time what are the checks which are PDCs, so I want the system to tell me. I will go to CashWorks, unrealized transaction alerts, and I will tell, okay, show me all the checks which are due today, checks that matured today. I just want to see the checks from this customer. Okay, so I can see that there is one check from this customer which has matured today. So if it's matured today, I can just say, okay, if it's matured, then realize it. And when I process, now my banks will be updated, now my customer account will be updated, and this will become a normal check, a standard check. This check will also go to my bank services. In CashWorks bank services, I can do the reconciliation, and if this money has already been deposited in my bank and I can see it in the bank, I can come here and reconcile. Of course, here you will not see the amount for $30 because 30 was US dollar, and this will be a little bit more. This is in Canadian dollars. So if I see this amount in the statement, I will just reconcile this transaction. So this is one full cycle, how you enter and track PDCs with CashWorks and how they mature and update your bank and your customer. Of course, I just showed you an example with customers, but vendors and miscellaneous transactions, which we call in CashWorks GL entry, works the same way. PDCs for this type of transactions work the same way. And finally, I would like to show you AR/AP settlements. This application helps you when the same entity is both customer and vendor for your company. So you're both buying and selling to the same entity. It allows you to settle documents of this entity with one another. Okay, let me just show you an example how this works. Let's log into that company. The basis of AR/AP settlement is the settlement group. Settlement group allows you to define what are all the customers and vendors you have defined in ACPAC as the same entity. So this is my entity. Group 5 is my entity, and there are 2 customers in ACPAC associated with this entity, and I have 3 vendors in ACPAC associated with this entity. Now I want to settle the documents of these customers and vendors with one another. I'll create an AR settlement transaction. I'll select the group. Now when I go to receivables, the application shows me all open documents for the customers in that group. You can see there are 2 different customers and all the open documents. And if I go to Payables tab, the application shows me all open documents for the vendors in that group. You can see I have 3 vendors in this group, and it shows me all the open documents for this. Now I have an option to settle these documents one another. So I can select, for example, that invoice number 3 for customer 1200. Sorry, it's a job related, so let's select something which is not. Invoice number 6 for the customer, I want to settle in payables with invoice number 35. I have another option also. Instead of settling different documents manually, I can just click automatic settlement, and the application will do the settlement for me. It will settle whatever has the smaller balance. In my case, it's vendors. All the documents of the vendors will be settled against the selected documents for the receivables. The selection is done based on your order by due date, by document date, or document number. When this transaction is posted, it will create transactions in accounts receivable and in accounts payable modules, adjustment transactions, which will be decreasing the documents, the balance of the documents selected here. And AR/AP settlements also has an inquiry and analysis functionality. For example, you can select your group and see how much each customer in that group owes you and how much each vendor in that group owes you, and total outstanding there. One more feature of AR/AP settlement I would like to show you is customized AR transactions and customized AP transactions. I'll just show you AR transaction. So when I'm creating an AR receipt, this is a standard AR receipt, which we all know. There is only one difference here. There is a small box added which says settlement group, balancing customer currency and receipt currency. So here I can see what is the settlement group of this customer and how much the vendors in that settlement group, how much do I owe them in customer currency, and how much do I owe the vendors in this settlement group in receipt currency. Okay, so this much I wanted to show you about ERP settlements. In addition to the above, I would like also to mention that we provide customization to a worldwide clientele. Our customizations range from customizing a simple report to creating an interface between Akbak and a third-party application. Visiting to our site, Custom Projects page at systronics.com will give you an idea about type of customizations done by SYSTRONICS. Naira?
Okay, thanks, Lucine. We hope that the time you spent with us was rewarding. So this much about SYSTRONICS product and services for Sage 300 ERP. Thanks everyone for their participation. We look forward to meeting you again soon. Goodbye and good luck.
Thank you everyone. Goodbye.